Lewis Hamilton's arrival at Ferrari has already sent shockwaves through the Formula One world, but hold on to your helmets, folks, because just days before he even takes that blood-red machine for its first proper spin, Ferrari has rolled out a set of game-changing updates for the SF-25. And these aren't just some minor touch-ups or aesthetic tweaks. Oh no, these changes could flip the entire 2025 season on its head. Now, if there's one thing we know about Hamilton, besides his love for fashion and his ability to piss off Red Bull fans, it's his obsessive attention to detail. The guy could probably tell you the thread count of his race suit just by touch. He's relentless when it comes to perfection, and the moment he settled into that prancing horse, he wasted no time demanding changes. Ferrari, not wanting to disappoint their brand new 7-time world champion, and possibly their best shot at a title in over a decade, got to work, and the results could be monumental. These aren't just some meh little adjustments to make the car more comfy for him. No. These could overhaul Ferrari's entire performance, shake up the internal power struggle between Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, and, dare I say, completely alter the championship battle. So, what exactly has Hamilton demanded? What makes these upgrades so damn crucial? And most importantly, are they enough to finally put Ferrari ahead of Red Bull, McLaren, and Mercedes? Buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into every single tweak, upgrade, and modification that Hamilton has pushed for. We'll break down how they could catapult Ferrari back to the top, what they mean for his highly anticipated debut at the Australian Grand Prix, and whether this is the start of something legendary, or just another chapter in Ferrari's endless soap opera of heartbreak. But before we jump into the juicy details, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. And hey, drop a comment below. Do you think these changes are enough to make Hamilton a title contender in his first year with Ferrari? Or is Red Bull still gonna have their usual stranglehold on the season? Let's hear your takes. Hamilton's first major demand: a whole new steering wheel layout. Let's start with one of the biggest and most unexpected changes Hamilton has introduced to the SF-25, a complete overhaul of the steering wheel layout. Now, if you're thinking, who cares? It's just a steering wheel. Then, my friend, you clearly underestimate just how much micromanagement goes on inside a Formula One cockpit. This isn't your mom's Toyota Corolla, it's a fighter jet on wheels, and every little button, switch, and dial is strategically placed for maximum efficiency. During pre-season testing in Bahrain, it was revealed that Ferrari had completely modified the placement of key controls at Hamilton's request. The most notable change? The repositioning of the SSO energy management function. Previously, it sat in a less-than-ideal spot, but now, it's been shifted to the lower section of the steering wheel, making it far easier to access mid-race. If this sounds familiar, that's because Ferrari hasn't done anything like this since 2015, when Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Räikkönen were tearing up the grid for the Scuderia. And guess what? That little change back then helped Ferrari close the gap to Mercedes. Now, why does this matter? Simple. The SSO system controls how much of the hybrid battery's power gets deployed at different points during a lap. In other words, it's the secret weapon for overtaking, defending, and maximizing tire life. Hamilton is a master of energy deployment. The dude knows exactly when to hit the battery boost button for a killer overtake and when to hold back to conserve energy. With this new setup, he can now make split-second adjustments on the fly, optimizing his race strategy without losing precious milliseconds fumbling for the right button. This seemingly minor tweak could be a complete game-changer in wheel-to-wheel combat, because let's be real, in modern F1, even the smallest edge can mean the difference between glory and frustration. But wait, there's more. Ferrari's aero and mechanical revamp. Of course, Hamilton's impact on the SF-25 goes way beyond just the steering wheel. The Ferrari engineers have been hard at work, tweaking the car's aerodynamics and mechanical setup based on his feedback. One of the most critical changes? A completely redesigned front wing. Ferrari, in their eternal struggle to keep up with Adrian Newey's wizardry at Red Bull, has developed a front wing that's more adaptable to different racing conditions. This means Hamilton will have a car that's more responsive, more predictable, and ultimately, more suited to his aggressive yet precise driving style. And let's be honest, that's exactly what Ferrari needs. No more, "Oh no, our tires died after 5 laps" nonsense. No more, "We had good pace, but we shot ourselves in the foot" excuses. Ferrari knows that if they're gonna make Hamilton their golden boy, they need to give him a car that actually works. The big question: is this enough to beat Red Bull? Now, the million-dollar question. Will these upgrades actually put Ferrari ahead of Red Bull, McLaren, and Mercedes? On paper, these changes look promising. Hamilton is clearly getting the car tailored to his needs, and Ferrari is actually listening. Which, if you know Ferrari's history, is kind of a miracle. But let's not kid ourselves. Red Bull isn't exactly sitting on their hands. Adrian Newey is probably cooking up some evil genius aerodynamic masterpiece as we speak, and Verstappen sure as hell isn't planning to just step aside and let Lewis have his moment. So, will Hamilton's Ferrari upgrades be enough to dethrone Red Bull? Or is this just the latest episode in Ferrari's eternal cycle of hype, hope, and heartbreak? Well, folks, that's what we're about to find out. The season is just beginning, and the battle is about to get spicy. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, and let us know in the comments. Is 2025 the year Ferrari finally breaks the curse? Or are we in for another season of Italian tears? Ferrari's engineering wizards have been burning the midnight oil, tweaking and refining every damn inch of the SF-25's aerodynamics to make sure Lewis Hamilton has a car that actually listens to him. One of their biggest overhauls? A completely redesigned front wing that could make or break Ferrari's season. Why the hell does this matter? Well, for starters, Hamilton has zero patience for a car that doesn't do exactly what he wants. The man has spent years fine-tuning his driving style, relying on a razor-sharp front end that lets him brake late as hell and carry insane speed through corners. If the front of the car doesn't respond like an extension of his own damn reflexes, he's not happy. And last season, Ferrari's car had a frustrating habit of understeering at the worst possible moments. Translation: the front end wasn't biting into the track the way it needed to, which cost them time and made wheel-to-wheel battles feel like a gamble rather than a calculated move. So, Ferrari said, "Screw it, let's fix this," and got to work on an aerodynamic overhaul of the front wing. The new design? It's all about maximizing airflow efficiency and boosting front-end grip, eliminating that pesky understeer problem that's been screwing them over on tight circuits. The goal is simple: make sure Hamilton has a car that obeys his every command, because if there's one thing we know, it's that he doesn't do well with disobedience. But wait, Ferrari didn't stop there. Because just fixing the front end wasn't enough, they went full mad scientist mode on the rear suspension, too. One of Ferrari's biggest Achilles heels in recent years has been traction out of slow corners. It's a problem that's haunted them on tight, technical circuits, where their cars just couldn't put the power down without turning into a slippery mess. If you want to win races in modern F1, you need a car that can explode out of low-speed turns like a damn rocket. So, Ferrari has completely revamped the rear suspension geometry. The changes: a setup that improves mechanical grip, meaning Hamilton will be able to hammer the throttle harder and earlier without feeling like he's about to drift into oblivion. Why is this a big deal? Think about Albert Park, the battlefield where Hamilton is about to debut in Ferrari Red. That track is loaded with slow to medium speed corners that lead straight into prime overtaking zones. If your car hesitates even for a fraction of a second on traction, you're a sitting duck. But with this new rear-end setup, Hamilton will have way better stability, less tire wear, and a massive boost in race performance when it matters most. Speaking of tire wear, Ferrari finally woke up. Now, let's talk about Ferrari's most annoying weakness over the past few years: horrific tire degradation. If you've watched Ferrari's races recently, you already know the pattern. They start strong, look competitive for a handful of laps, and then, bam, their tires turn into mush, forcing them into extra pit stops while Red Bull and Mercedes just keep cruising. It's been one of the most frustrating problems for the team, and it's cost them countless podiums and victories. But this year, they're done playing that game. For the Australian Grand Prix, Ferrari has rolled out a triple-threat solution to their tire wear issues. A brand new cooling system to keep tire temperatures in check, optimized weight distribution to prevent uneven wear, a redesigned suspension setup that reduces strain on the tires while maintaining grip. If these updates actually work the way they should, Ferrari could finally have a real shot at matching Red Bull and Mercedes on race pace. They won't just be quick over one lap, they'll be deadly across an entire Grand Prix. And in a season where strategy could make all the difference, that's a huge freaking deal. But here's where it gets even juicier: the internal Ferrari war. Because let's be honest, these updates aren't just about making Ferrari faster. They're also about power dynamics inside the team. Since 2019, Ferrari has been built around Charles Leclerc. The Monégasque Prince has been their golden boy, and a lot of the car's development has catered to his aggressive, oversteer-heavy driving style. He loves a car that slides and rotates aggressively into corners, letting him wrestle his way through a lap. And for years, Ferrari has been designing their cars to fit that style, for better or worse. But now, Hamilton is in the building, and shit is about to change. The SF-25's updates, sharper turn-in, better rear-end stability, less tire degradation, are all tweaks that Hamilton has thrived with throughout his career. This car is starting to look less like a Leclerc special and more like a machine built for a 7-time world champion. So what happens next? Will Ferrari officially shift its focus to Hamilton? Will Leclerc push back and demand the car still be developed around his strengths? And most importantly, will these updates be enough to finally bring down Red Bull? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. Ferrari isn't just trying to win races this season. They're trying to redefine who's really in charge of this team. However, now that Sir Lewis freaking Hamilton has entered the Ferrari garage, things are shifting fast. And I mean really fast. The fact that Ferrari is already bending over backwards to implement massive changes based on his feedback this early in the season? That's not just about fine-tuning performance. That's a power move. It could signal a major shift in Ferrari's internal hierarchy, and let's be honest, that's exactly the kind of drama we live for. For years, Ferrari's golden boy, Charles Leclerc, has been the team's undisputed main man. He spent his entire F1 career in red, developing a unique driving style that thrives on sharp front-end grip and aggressive, high-speed rotation. His Ferrari machines have been tailored to his strengths, built to let him chuck the car into corners like a madman and wrestle it into submission. And you know what? It worked. But now, things are getting complicated. Hamilton isn't just any new teammate. He's a 7-time world champion, a guy who knows exactly what he wants and isn't afraid to demand it. His arrival means one thing. Ferrari's development direction might no longer be centered around Leclerc. If Ferrari continues adjusting their car to match Hamilton's ultra-precise, late-braking, rear-end stability-focused driving style, Leclerc might find himself in a position where he's the one who has to adapt. And let's be real, that's not a small ask. Ferrari's upgrades aren't just about the internal war. This is a championship statement. While Ferrari is busy deciding whether this is still Leclerc's team or if they're officially going full all-hail King Hamilton, there's an even bigger story unfolding, the 2025 championship fight. McLaren is entering this season on an absolute high, looking like the early favorite after a ridiculously strong preseason. Their car? Fast as hell. Their drivers? Fired up. If Ferrari doesn't get their act together immediately, they might be watching Norris and Piastri run away with this thing before they even have a chance to put up a fight. And then there's Red Bull. Oh, Red Bull. Sure, they've been the kings of the last few years, but there are cracks in the foundation. The dominance we've gotten used to? Not guaranteed anymore. Verstappen is still a beast, no doubt about that, but the team has shown some inconsistency in their development. If Ferrari and Hamilton can capitalize on this early window of opportunity, this season could get messy real fast. And then there's Mercedes, the ultimate wild card. Nobody knows exactly what to expect from them. Will they bounce back and join the fight? Or will they keep struggling in the post-Hamilton era, trying to piece together a comeback that never quite materializes? Either way, Ferrari cannot afford to just sit around and wait to find out. Ferrari finally growing a backbone? About damn time. The real shocker in all of this isn't just that Ferrari is making upgrades, it's how fast they're doing it. For years, Ferrari has been called out for being too slow, too stubborn, too stuck in their old-school ways. They've had a nasty habit of digging in their heels when faced with technical challenges, often refusing to make major adjustments until it was too damn late. And trust me, that's cost them. But now, suddenly, there's urgency. There's agility. There's a fire under their ass that we haven't seen in years. And the only logical explanation? Hamilton. The guy has been in Maranello for, what, 5 minutes? And already, Ferrari is listening to every word he says. If this trend continues and they keep responding to his feedback this quickly, this could be the turning point they've needed for years. This could be the key to not just competing in 2025, but winning. The Grand Prix of Australia, the first real test. Now, let's talk about the real proving ground. All these upgrades, all the hype. It means jack shit if they don't deliver on race day. The Australian Grand Prix isn't just Hamilton's first Ferrari race. It's the moment where we finally see if these changes have actually turned the SF-25 into a title contender, or if Ferrari has once again overpromised and underdelivered. If the upgrades work, Hamilton could be fighting for the win straight out of the gate. Imagine that. A Ferrari victory in his very first race with the team. The internet would explode. But if things go south?
If the SF-25 doesn't deliver and Ferrari is stuck playing catch-up?
Then guess what? They're in for an all-out mid-season development war with McLaren and Red Bull, scrambling to make upgrades before the championship slips away. And trust me, that's a shitstorm Ferrari does not want to be in. One thing's for sure, this is just the beginning. No matter what happens in Melbourne, one thing is absolutely certain. This is just the start of what promises to be one of the most chaotic, unpredictable, and downright thrilling seasons in recent F1 history. Will Ferrari finally get their act together and launch a serious title fight? Will Hamilton's influence reshape the entire team dynamic? Will Leclerc fight back and reclaim his throne? Or is this just another beautiful disaster waiting to happen? No matter which way it goes, it's going to be one hell of a ride. The Ferrari-Hamilton era has officially begun. And shit just got real. Buckle up, folks, because the moment we've all been waiting for is finally here. The dawn of the Hamilton-Ferrari alliance. The SF-25 is about to hit the track for its first real showdown of the season, and let's just say the entire F1 world is holding its breath. The hype for the 2025 Formula One season is absolutely off the charts. We're talking about next-level anticipation, the kind that makes die-hard fans lose sleep over race strategies and tire degradation stats. But here's the kicker. Ferrari's latest round of upgrades for Hamilton could be the ultimate game-changer. With McLaren emerging as the early favorite, and Red Bull still holding onto their championship throne like an overprotective dragon, Ferrari is now in a make-or-break situation. If they want to be serious contenders, they need these modifications to hit the jackpot right from the get-go. There's no time for slow starts. No room for, "we'll get them next time." Either they nail it in Melbourne, or they risk playing catch-up all season long. And then, of course, there's Hamilton. The man has left no stone unturned in his quest to make sure this Ferrari is as fine-tuned and lethal as humanly possible. He's obsessed, he's relentless, and he's ready for war. His first race in Melbourne will be the ultimate test, not just of Ferrari's engineering prowess, but also of his own ability to adapt, Ferrari's new development philosophy, and, perhaps most importantly, the internal power struggle brewing between him and Charles Leclerc. A strong result in Australia would send a crystal-clear message to the entire paddock. Ferrari is back, and Hamilton isn't just here to collect a paycheck, he's here to hunt for his 8th damn title. But if these so-called revolutionary upgrades fail to deliver, then we could see Ferrari scrambling to save their season before it even properly starts, launching themselves into a mid-season development war that could leave them gasping for air while McLaren and Red Bull run away with the championship. Ferrari's internal battlefield. Who's really in charge? Of course, it's not just about whether Ferrari is fast enough, it's about who's calling the shots inside that garage. 4 years, Ferrari has been Leclerc's team. He's their homegrown hero, their golden child, the guy they've spent years molding into a world champion. But now, Hamilton has arrived, and let's be real, he didn't come here to play second fiddle to anyone. So the big question is, will Ferrari give both drivers equal opportunities, or are they already leaning toward making Hamilton the new king? Because let's face it, if they keep developing the car around Hamilton's feedback, Leclerc might have to start adjusting his own driving style just to keep up. And if there's one thing we know about racing drivers, it's that they don't particularly enjoy having to change for anyone. The power struggle inside Ferrari could be just as intense as the title fight itself. Will there be harmony, or will we see tensions explode before mid-season? If you thought Ferrari's internal politics were dramatic before, just wait. The entire grid is locked and loaded, and 2025 might be pure chaos. But let's not forget, it's not just about Ferrari. This season is shaping up to be one of the most competitive, unpredictable, and downright brutal battles we've seen in years. McLaren is looking dangerous as hell. Their 2025 challenger is blisteringly fast, and both Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri are driving like they've got something to prove. If their race pace matches their testing form, they might just be the team to beat. Red Bull is still a force to be reckoned with, but they're showing cracks. We've seen glimpses of inconsistency, and while Max Verstappen is still an absolute beast, can Red Bull maintain their dominance with the field closing in? Mercedes is the wild card. Are they back in the fight, or are they still lost in the development woods, trying to claw their way back to the front? Nobody knows for sure, but don't count them out just yet. Every strategic decision, every aero tweak, and every single battle on track will be crucial in shaping this season's title race. There are zero guarantees, and that's what makes it so damn exciting. Australia is just the beginning. The real war starts now. Make no mistake, Melbourne is where the first real punches will be thrown. This is the first true test of Ferrari's upgrades, Hamilton's ability to gel with his new team, and the overall pecking order of the grid. Can Hamilton pull off a historic debut victory in Ferrari red and instantly silence the doubters? Or will these highly hyped upgrades fail to deliver, forcing Ferrari into yet another frantic game of catch-up while McLaren and Red Bull set the pace? One thing's for sure, this is just the beginning. The 2025 Formula One season is about to be a roller coaster of chaos, heartbreak, and pure racing brilliance. And we'll be right here, breaking down every plot twist, every technical breakthrough, and every jaw-dropping moment as it all unfolds. So, if you're not already subscribed, what the hell are you waiting for? Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single second of the madness that's about to unfold. And now, over to you. Do you think Hamilton has what it takes to win on his Ferrari debut? Can Ferrari finally mount a serious title challenge? Or is McLaren and Red Bull's grip on the front of the grid too damn strong? Drop your predictions in the comments below, because this season is about to get wild.